let's discuss confidence, and let's hopefully get an understanding that is so clear that you always know. You always know what's going on with your confidence. Why am I feeling shameful right now? What's going on? Why is my hair falling out? Why do I feel like an itty bitty little boy? Let's take a look. I've got this funny uterus looking diagram. That's okay, we're going to rebuild it and we will make sense of it all. I promise you. Confidence is a spectrum. We are this white piece. We're always somewhere on the spectrum. For as long as we're alive, we all want to be here over on the confidence end. But sometimes we fall into the shame side. Now, there is never really stillness. We're either kind of moving towards confidence or towards shame at all times. So if we're not keeping it in check, we may slip into shame by accident. How does this work? How do we move towards confidence? How do we move away from shame? Here are a couple of the things that are related to the spectrum of confidence. Our habits, our character, our sexuality, and our relationships. There may be other things, but in general, we're going to get an idea of how it works, and then we can piece the rest of it ourselves without an issue. The way it works is where we are on this spectrum is always related to a few things, including these four. So, our level of confidence or our level of shame determines our habits. It determines our relationships, it determines our character, and it determines our sexuality or our expression of sexuality. There may be other things. So, if I'm very confident, then my relationships are great, my habits are amazing, my character is amazing, my sexuality is, very naughty. If I am very shameful, my habits are poor. I probably watch porn a lot, and that's the most sexuality I get. My character is terrible. And my relationships are not so good. And that's because when we feel shame, we're in defense mode. When we feel confidence, we're in, look at me world, I feel amazing. Okay, so we know that our confidence and shame, our position on the spectrum, affects these four things. We still haven't got to how do we move our confidence? How do we increase our confidence, sorry? Well, our level of confidence affects these four, but also these four affect our confidence. It is a feedback loop. So, we can add another connection point up here. Bleep, bloop. Boom. So now, our position on this spectrum of confidence determines our habits, character, action, sexuality, and our habits, character, sexuality, and relationships, also determine our level of confidence, which means we seem to be in an endless cycle. And it's really about, is our cycle tilting towards shame, or is it tilting towards pleasure? Confidence. If we are, let's say this is the center point. If we are slightly to the left, then we're going to experience shame in our habits, character, relationships, and sexuality, and that's going to create that feedback loop so that we feel it, we then experience it in our reality, it will reflect back to us, and then we react to it. We feel even more shame. I'm trying to grab this thing. And when we react to it, we slide a little bit more, and then we create more of it, we act on it, we then experience it more, and then we create more, and then we react to it, and then we boom! At some point, the shame will be so bad that we need to snap out of it. Imagine you're addicted to porn, and you spend 24/7 watching porn, you don't go to work, or it could be drugs or whatever it is, and at one point your life is so miserable that you snap out of it, you say, that's it, I need to make a change. Or life forces you to make a change. That's kind of how it works. Now, we don't have to get to that point because we understand how this works. We can start sliding our way towards confidence. How do we do that? Well, if we're slightly towards the right, then we can spiral that all the way up. But what if we're not to the right? What if right now I feel shame? And I'm going to use myself as an example, because this has all come to me because my hair's been falling out. I'm so sad. My hair's been falling out and I've only just realized what I've been doing. Sometimes I get blind and I just start floating in the wind and I let life take me. And at some point, again, it gets bad enough that I need to snap out of it. My hair's been falling out because I've been feeling shame. I have not been feeling confident. My relationships have suffered. My friends aren't very close to me. It's more like I isolate myself. When you feel shame, you isolate yourself because you don't want anyone to know that you're a piece of shit because you see yourself as a piece of shit. Let's say I started going to the gym and I'm buff as hell now. I would want to see my friends because I feel proud of myself and I would want my friends to see what I've achieved. And on the shame side, it's the opposite. Okay, my habits are also trash. I'm eating shit and whatnot. My character is not so good because I'm always in shame mode. I'm always in defense mode. No, you can't tell me I did something wrong because that triggers the shame and then I want to fight against it and tell them to, I want to push against them, and whatever I feel, I want to reflect back to them. Sexuality has been dwindling. Dwindle. But that's okay. How do we break the cycle? We break the cycle by first acknowledging or understanding this. Oh, and also, I just want to clear up that these things, sexuality breaks into body, libido, hair, and there's all different bits and pieces that are under these things, but yeah, that's the diagram done. How do we break the cycle? How do we stop leaning towards shame? How do we start moving towards confidence if we're on the shame side? First, all we have to do is understand how this works. We understand that it's a perpetuating cycle. We understand that our level of shame and confidence, our position on the spectrum, influences our actions, and our actions influence how we feel, and how we feel influences our actions, and that's that loop that we've got there. Now that we understand that, we can stop reacting to the shame that is being presented to us, because we understand that the reason the shame is there is because we've been reacting. So if the only thing that makes this cycle continue is that at some point I'm reacting to the experience that I've created, then all I have to do is start reacting to something that I can't see yet, or delusional. Well, it works. Start reacting to something that you feel confident about. Generate the feeling of confidence. When shame pops up, when something terrible happens that makes you feel shame, acknowledge it. Don't try to reject it. Say, okay, I've been creating this. I get it. This is me. This is my fault. Now that I understand it, I'm going to choose to create confidence instead. So when you get the chance, you can meditate or you can just sit there and contemplate over things that make you feel confident. Generate the feeling. The more you generate the feeling, the more inspiration you will have to do things that align with confidence. So we start here. We are creating imagination. We are now inserting some new substance, whatever, into this cycle. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's feed it some confidence. Use your imagination, feed confidence into the loop. You'll get inspired to change your habits, character, sexuality, relationships slowly. Don't try to jump straight to the end. It doesn't work like that. You have to slowly work your way up. So let's say right now I'm over here. You start injecting confidence into the cycle. Then you'll probably get inspired. So personally, I'd get inspired to go to the gym, or I'd get inspired. So that's that's habits. and probably sexuality because you got body in there. I'd also be inspired to start working on some things that I enjoy doing. I'm learning how to use game development software right now. I'm also building a website. When I start injecting confidence, I probably get inspired to do those things again. That's again habits, maybe a bit of character. And if I start injecting confidence, I might also start wanting to reach out to my friends and family, and that's relationships and character. Keep doing that. Slowly move this up. Now, as soon as you start increasing, it gets easier. And every time you increase, it gets even more easier. The further you are along this line, the easier it gets. This is the key. Use your imagination to create confidence, inject it into the cycle. Boom. You're moving up. There's one other visual representation I want to go over, and that is the trajectory. The trajectory is more important than where you are now. How content I am is not about where I am. There's always going to be ups and downs in life. And like I said, we're either on one side or the other. And that was one spectrum. But collectively, there's a whole bunch of spectrums. Whether we think our life is on a downtrend or on an uptrend is what makes us, is what determines our overall contentment level. So we think that, for example, this high is contentment, these highs. These highs are probably dopamine hits. Or they're the result of doing something difficult. So let's say I went to the gym and then I got home and I felt strong and fit. These are ups and downs that are fleeting. They are part of the trajectory, but then that's not what's important. What determines my level of contentment, this is the way I should have said it. If this is what determines my level of contentment, then I will never be content, because there's always going to be ups and downs. You're never static. Impossible. What determines how content I am in each moment is my perceived trajectory. Do I think that if I lived this exact same day or this exact same week, if I repeated this week forever, am I going to constantly feel worse and worse and worse? Or if I repeated this week forever, am I going to feel better and better and better? Literally, this M value up here is a symbol of contentment. If I'm up here, well, if my perceived trajectory is like this, then I love life. Life is amazing, because no matter how shit it is right now, I know that everything is okay and everything's amazing, and I'm heading towards better and better and better. Likewise on the other side, let's say you had $1 million, let's say you had $1 trillion. If your life was on a downtrend, you would still fear that, oh my god, I'm heading towards a pit. Things are going to get shit. Oh my god, it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter how good things are now. It doesn't matter how bad things are now. What matters is your trajectory, the trajectory you think you're on. And the trajectory that you're on is based on the trajectory that you see in your mind. It is all about your perception. Do you see things getting better, or do you see things getting worse? We decide, we create the trajectory, and then that determines our contentment. So, if you feel like shit right now, look at the things in your mind that you think are getting worse and worse and worse, and change that vision. Make it a positive. Make it something that is getting better and better and better. And do that for all the different subjects in your mind until every subject in your life is on an uptrend. Then you have absolutely nothing to worry about, because life is just getting better for you forever. Okay. Bye bye.